Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you part 8 of Charlotte's Universe. Charlotte's Universe has been designed by Deidre Ice from Look at What I Made, and a link to the pattern is in the video description. In part 8 we'll be making this band here with the floral, with the popcorn motif, this band. This is what we're making in part 8. And I'm using Scheepjes stone washed yarn for my blanket. The original is in a different yarn, but I also love this yarn, so it's one of my favorite blanket yarns. I'll be taking you through all the rows that make up part 8. I want to thank you for watching. Hope it's a useful video for you. Round 76 new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in any chain 2 corner space, so these little corners here. I'm going to start with a standing double crochet. So our corner is a double, 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. So the first one is a standing double followed by a second double crochet, chain 2 and 2 more doubles. So 1 and 2. There you go. So that's the corner. 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. Now for the straight edge, we're going to work a front post double crochet around this single here. You see that little single is kind of a bit hidden. I'll just zoom in a little bit more, then you'll see it better. So in this single crochet, I'm going to work a front post double. So yarn over from the front around the stitch, and you come out here between in the gap that's before the pedal, and then complete the front post double crochet. We're now going to work around the petals. In the first treble, so in this first one here, this gets a back loop half double. So yarn over. So in the back loop, work a half double, so only the back loop of that stitch. Come to the next stitch and work a single crochet in the back loop. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and actually don't work these chain 3 too tight, just give them a little room. We're now going to come to the other side of the petal, so you're going to skip 4 trebles, so these 4 stitches here, you're going to skip these 4 and also the picot there in the middle. So you've going to come to the last 2 here. In the first one, work a back loop single crochet. So single crochet in the back loop of that stitch. And you can already pop this chain space to the back, but you can also do it later, don't worry when you do that. And then in the next stitch, a back loop half double. So a single crochet in the back loop and a half double in the back loop. The stitch here in the middle gets again a front post double crochet. So yarn over. And this is actually the start of the next repeat. So front post double crochet. And we're going to do this until you've done all your petals. So I'll just show you one petal again. So this front post double here is actually the start of the repeat again. In the next stitch, half double back loop. Next stitch, single back loop. Chain 3. Make these just a little looser than you normally would. Now you're going to come to the other side of the petal. And on the second last stitch, work a single crochet in the back loop. And I just need a bit more yarn. And in the last stitch, work a half double. The last stitch of the petal, again, back loop. So back loop only. And this was the second repeat. Repeat this until you're to the other side, until you've worked all your petals. So your last stitch will be this half double on your last petal, so then you'll be the equivalent of this stitch. You'll have worked that single on the single crochet. You'll have worked a front post double, then back loop half double, back loop single crochet, the chain 3, then the single crochet and the half double, both in the back loops, and that's the point where I'll see you back. And do remember these front post double crochets here in the middle. Do remember those. Right, continue, and I'll see you back at the end. To the end of the row, I've just worked this half double here in the last petal, and now you have the corner stitches left. Now around the single crochet, work a front post double. So this is the single crochet that makes up the corner from the previous round, front post double, and that completes this edge. In the chain 2 space, 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles, and then repeat everything 3 more times. And when you're back to your first stitch, you can close on that standing stitch, the standing double, with a slip stitch, and then keep your yarn attached for the next round. Round 77, currently in the first stitch from the previous round with a slip stitch, and we're just going to move to the chain 2 corner space. So that means a slip stitch in the next double and into the chain space. Go to work a corner, which is going to be a single crochet, chain 2 and a single crochet. I'm just going to do a chain 1. No, does not count as a stitch, it's just to get you to the correct height. Then a single, chain 2 and another single crochet. And that's the new corner made. On the first 5 stitches, going to work a single crochet, so that's those 5 there, and this first one here, be sure to get that one too. So 5 singles, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 singles. Then you're to the chain space, and in the chain space we work 3 singles. So 1, 2, 3. And this we're going to repeat till we're to the other side. So that means on the next 5 stitches, so those are these 5 stitches between the petals, work a single crochet on each of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 singles, and then you're to the chain space again and work 3 in there. 1, 2, 3, and continue like this until you have 5 stitches left. Then you'll be almost to the corner. Then I'll see you back. So 5 singles and 3 singles in the chain spaces. Almost to the corner. I'm currently here in the last chain space, and then you should have, so I've just worked 3 single crochets in there, then you should have 5 stitches left. On each of those work a single, so 5 more singles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you're at the next corner, and this corner gets again a single, chain 2 and a single. And this is the same as the corner you started with. So repeat everything on your next 3 edges and close on your first single with a slip stitch. Round 78, currently in the single crochet from the previous round with a slip stitch, and again we're just going to move to the chain 2 corner space with a slip stitch. So this is just the 1 stitch. Now we're ready to start the round. We're going to work a corner again, so that's a single crochet, chain 2 and a single. Just again the chain 1, which is not a stitch, just for the working height. And then in the corner work a single, chain 2 and a single. So that's the new corner. Then this straight edge, we're going to skip the first stitch, and that's on that stitch there. We're going to skip that stitch and work a single crochet in the next. We're now going to come down and work a front post double around the first stitch from round 76. So that's this first stitch here. So yarn over for the front post double, so around that first stitch. And complete the double crochet front post, skipping a stitch to the back. So that's on that stitch there. We're going to skip that stitch, then work a single crochet in the next there. So you're skipping a stitch and then work a single crochet to the back in the next stitch, and this single crochet lines up with the front post stitch you have here. You see how this the single crochet is in the single that's in the front post. So that's just a check for you. Now the repeat that you're going to be doing till you're almost to the other side. Work a front post double around the next front post double from round 76. So that's this one here. So a front post double around that front post. Skipping a stitch again to the back, and then so you're skipping a stitch to the back, and then in the next stitch work a single. That's the first of 7. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 single crochets. And you'll notice that your last one falls into the single that's made into the front post stitch here. So again, that's a double check for you. And this was the repeat. So this from this front post, skipping a stitch and 7 singles. Repeat that until you're almost to the other side. So the next repeat would be a front post double around this front post double. Then again, skipping a stitch to the back. You see I'm skipping a stitch. And then come to the next, and this is then the first of 7 again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. So I've now done the repeat twice. You need to do quite a few more, and when you're finished you'll have 3 stitches left. So repeat this till you're almost to the other side. I've worked the repeat quite a few times, and I've just finished the last repeat here, basically up behind the last petal. And after you've worked 7 single crochets, you should have exactly 3 stitches left. You can see 3 stitches left there. Now to the corner, we're going to start by working a front post double around the front post from 2 rows down. So around this front post, work another front post double, and then skipping 1 stitch to the back, work a single. So skipping that stitch, work a single crochet, and then last stitch is a front post double around this last double crochet from 2 rows down. So around that last stitch, front post double. Now you have 1 stitch left here, 1 stitch before the chain 2 corner space. We're going to skip that last stitch, and then in the corner is a single crochet, chain 2 and a single. And that's the same as the corner you started with. So everything we just done 3 more times, and close on your first stitch with a slip stitch. Round 79. We're again in the first single crochet from the previous round, and we're just going to slip stitch to the corner stitch to start this round. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use the slip stitch to just change colors. And this is different from the pattern. The pattern uses the same color for round 79, but I'm just going to change colors. So I'm just going to do this slip stitch with a new color, but if you're using the same color, then you use the old color, of course, not the new one. And now I'm at the same point as the pattern, so I just continue as normal. I'm going to start the corner. The corner is 2 half doubles, chain 2, and 2 half doubles. Now the first half double is, of course, chain 2. And if you are using a new color here, you could also start here with a standing half double. That's also fine. Then another half double in the same corner space, chain 2, and 2 more half doubles. 1 and 2. And that's your new corner. 2 half doubles, chain 2, and 2 half doubles. Now to get started on this straight edge, you're going to skip the first stitch and then work 3 half doubles. So, skipping this stitch, then come to the next and work a half double. So that's 1, 2, and 3. 3 half doubles. In the next stitch, which should be here, this second front post stitch, in that stitch we're going to work a popcorn. So that means 5 doubles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then come back to the first one and complete the popcorn. We've done this before. We continue and work half doubles in the next 3 stitches. And yeah, there's this one. That's 1, 2, and 3. Here's a half double in the next 3 stitches, and especially this first one here, the popcorn kind of falls over it, so be sure to see that one, this first one. Right, now we're going to work a half double, and in the process we're actually going to catch the flower petal, the picot here, the little bubble at the top. If your petals are still to the back of your work, which is possible, just pop them forward. So make sure that your petals are to the front of your work, because you're going to need them in this round. Now we're going to work the half double by inserting our hook through the second chain of the chain 3 of the picot and through the next stitch. I'm going to yarn over. So, and the second chain that you're looking for is the one that's at the top. So I'm just going to poke my hook here through the top chain. So it's the one that's at the top, the one that's easiest to get to. And then into the next stitch. And then grab your yarn and just ease it a little bit. There we go, through the picot. And then yarn over and complete the stitch. We're going to be doing this to all of the picots. We're going to be joining them in that way. Now the repeat unit that we're going to do is work 7 half doubles and then catch the picot. So, and then that you'll repeat to the end. So that's 1, 2, 3. This is number 4, and you'll notice that number 4 will fall here in the front post stitch. So that's just a checkpoint for you. My yarn is almost finished here, so as you can see here, I'm just wrestling the last bits. It's just the last few meters always tend to knot. So that was number 3. Sorry, that was 4. So this is 5, 6, and 7. There we go, 7 half doubles. The next stitch we're again going to catch the picot through the through the next stitch. We're going to join that one. So again on the second chain, I'm just going to insert my hook into the chain stitch and into the next stitch. Grab your yarn, bring it forward through the stitch and the picot, and through the picot it just needs a little help, and then complete the half double as normal. Now, this is the full repeat. So I've shown you the picot twice. You're going to do that on all of them. Work 7 half doubles and then catch the picot with the next stitch. Continue until you're to the other side. I'll see you back when you've done your last picot stitch. I'm almost to the end of the first edge. I've worked here the last repeat, so 7 half doubles, and with this half double I've caught the picot. At this point you should have 7 stitches left to the corner. Now we're going to work a half double on the next 3. So 1, 2, 3. There you go. 3 half doubles. Your next stitch should be the front post here. This should be your next stitch, and we're going to work a popcorn in there. So that means 5 doubles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doubles, sorry. Then come back to the first stitch, pull through. On the next few stitches we're going to work a half double. So we've got 3 stitches left, a half double on those. And this first one again can be a little hard to get into because the popcorn is just a little bit in the way. So that's 1. The second one here is the front post. It's 2, and the third one here is on your last stitch. Next up is the corner. You're going to work a new corner in there, so that's 2 half doubles, 1, 2, chain 2, and 2 more half doubles, 1 and 2. And this is of course the start of the next edge. And do everything we've just done with the half doubles catching the picots and the 2 popcorns on each edge, all the way around, and close on your first stitch. That was the chain 2 that we started with. Close on there with a slip stitch. Round 80, currently in the starting chain 2 from the previous round, and we're just going to move to the chain 2 corner space with 2 slip stitches. Now, the first one is in the half double, and I just need to find the correct yarn tail. There we go. And then slip stitch into the chain 2 corner space. And I'm again going to use a different color, so I'm not going to do it with the color I currently have, but with a new color. And this is again something that I'm just doing to change colors, because in the pattern you use the same color and you continue in the same color. The corner is again going to be 2 half doubles, chain 2, and 2 half doubles. So that's chain 2, that's the first half double, and then another half double, chain 2, and 2 more half doubles. So that's your new corner made. So that first chain 2 counts as a half double. The straight edge, we're going to skip the first stitch, and that's this little stitch here that's actually falling under the corner. I'm going to skip that stitch and then come to the second stitch. I'm going to work a half double in there. That's a half double. We're going to work a front post treble around the first single crochet from round 78. So that's that little single there. I'm going to work a front post treble around it. So that's twice over. It's a front post treble. Then around the stitch and complete the treble. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. Skipping the stitch behind, so I'm going to skip the next, so that's the stitch behind. You're going to skip that stitch and then work a half double in the next. So in the next stitch, work a half double. Again, working a front post treble, but this time around the front post double from 2 rows down. So twice over again. So here's the front post stitch. Work a front post treble around that stitch. 2, 3 times, taking off 2 loops. We're again going to skip a stitch to the back and then work 9 half doubles. So this here is the stitch we're skipping, and the first stitch you're going to work into here is going to be the popcorn, that little opening there. That's the first stitch, and that's the popcorn. That's 1, and then come to the other side of the popcorn. You see here's stitch number 2, that half double there. So that is 2. I'm going to work 9, 3, 4, 5. Number 5 here falls into the stitch that's in the picot. 6, 7, 8, and 9. And number 9 falls in the stitch that's in the front post. So that's your line happening there. We're now going to start the repeat that you'll do till you're almost to the other side. You're going to work a front post treble around the front post from 2 rows down, skipping a stitch, and then work 7 half doubles. So that means twice over. The front post, work a front post treble. And then skipping 1 stitch to the back. See, I'm skipping 1 stitch. Then work 7 half doubles. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and number 7. And this one again falls into the stitch that's in the front post stitch. And repeat. So again, a front post stitch, here a front post treble. Okay, just get you started around the front post from 2 rows down. There you go. And again, skip a stitch and work 7 half doubles. Continue this until you have 5 stitches left. I'm almost to the other side. We're still working the last repeat. And in case you're wondering, yes, I do have a different color here than I had at the start of the round, because that's halfway through I decided to change my colors because I just didn't like the way they were looking. So I am actually taking this color wise round by round. I just worked here the front post treble, so I'm going to skip a stitch to the back and then work 7 more half doubles, and then that's the last repeat. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'll show you the last 2. Here 6 is the stitch just before the popcorn. This here is 6, and then number 7 here is on the popcorn, that little hole there, that's number 7. And now you've worked the full repeat. And if you just go to the popcorn, just push it the other side, you see you have 5 stitches left. Now, on these 5 stitches, I'm going to work a half double on the first 2. So the first one here is exactly just after the popcorn, so you're really going to have to push the popcorn to the side. That's 1 and 2. Now we're going to do a front post treble, again a treble, around the front post double from 2 rows down. So twice over, then around that double, work a front post treble. 2 and 3. Again, skipping a stitch to the back, work a half double. So you see, skipping one stitch, and then in the next stitch work a half double. The last 2 stitches is a front post treble around this single crochet here from 2 rows down. So yarn over twice. So you're really sticking your hook like that, and then pick up the yarn and complete the treble. Now this last stitch that you have to the back here, that stitch there, you're going to skip that stitch and come to the corner, which is going to be 2 half doubles. So that's 1, 2, chain 2, and 2 more half doubles. 1 and 2. There you go. And now you're at the same. This is the same as the corner we started with. So everything done on this edge, do on the next 3 edges also. And you'll notice that yes, your corners are not symmetric. Don't worry about this, that's correct. Go all the way around and close on the starting chain 2 that's at the beginning of the round. Close on there with a slip stitch. Round 81, I'm currently in the first stitch of the previous round with a slip stitch, and we're just going to move to the chain 2 corner space. That means on the next stitch work a slip stitch, and then work a slip stitch in the corner space. I'm just going to use this slip stitch to change colors to my new color, but the pattern does not change colors. So the pattern just continues with the yarn you already have. Then the corner is going to be 2 half doubles, chain 2, and 2 half doubles. So I'm going to start with a chain 2. This is the first half double, and then another half double, chain 2, and 2 more half doubles in the same corner space. And 2. The repeat on the straight edge. We're going to skip the first stitch. It's that little stitch is kind of falling underneath the corner. I'm going to skip that and then start on the second. I'm going to start there with a half double. That's the first of 4. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 half doubles. Your next stitch should be the front post treble here, the second of the 2 front post stitches. Now in that stitch we're going to work a popcorn. So that means 5 double crochets in the stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Open up, come back to the first stitch and close the popcorn. And there we go. In the next 5 stitches we're going to work a half double. The next stitch immediately here is this one here. There, that stitch, just after the popcorn. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 half doubles. We're now going to start a little repeat that we're going to work until we're almost to the end. I'm going to work a front post treble around the picot here. So you've got the pedal and there's the picot, so around the picot. So it means twice over for the treble. And around that stitch, so you're basically you're just going to scoop up the picot and then work the front post treble. You're going to skip one stitch to the back, skip a stitch, that stitch, then come to the next, then that's the first half double of 7. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 4 here will fall in the front post stitch. 5, 6, 7. And this is the repeat that you're going to do until you're almost to the end. So again, here your next stitch is a front post treble around the picot. So this is the start of the second repeat. 1, 2, 3. Skip a stitch to the back. See, I'm skipping a stitch, then come to the next. And then this is the first of 7 half doubles again. I just started the second repeat with you, but work this until you have 11 stitches left. Then you'll be almost to the other side and you'll be almost on your last petal. When you've done, well, the repeat quite a few times, you'll stop when you have 11 stitches left. This is the point where you're at. We're going to work our last front post treble around the picot. So twice over. Petal, work your last front post treble around this stitch on this edge. There we go. Skipping one stitch to the back, skip a stitch, work a half double, and then this is the first of 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your next stitch should be the front post treble, the first of the 2. In this stitch we're going to work a popcorn. So we start by working 5 doubles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open up the stitch, come to your first stitch and pull through. You have 4 stitches left, work a half double on each of those. So this is 1, 2, 3, and the last one here. 4. Next up is the corner, and this gets the same corner as the corner we started with. So that's 2 half doubles, 1, 2, chain 2, and 2 half doubles, 1 and 2. There we go. And then this corner is the same as the one we started with. So everything we just did on this edge, do on your other 3 also. And close on the chain 2 that we started with a slip stitch. Round 82, I'm currently in the first stitch from round 81 with a slip stitch, and we're just going to move to the chain 2 corner space to start the round. So I'm going to slip stitch into the next half double, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the chain space. But I'm actually going to use this slip stitch just to change colors again. And if you're using the same color, you of course slip stitch with that color. Now, round 82. I'm going to start with a chain 1. Then that does not count as a stitch. Then a single crochet, chain 2, and a single. So single, chain 2, and a single in the corner space. That's your first corner made. For the straight edge, we're going to skip the first stitch. Now that's that little stitch there that's kind of fallen underneath the single, and then come to the next, and there we're going to work 1 single crochet. That's 1, and on the next stitch also 2. We're going to come down to round 80, and for me that's here in the dark pink, and we're going to work a front post treble around the first half double of the row. So I'm going to twice over for the treble, then come down and around that first stitch from 2 rows down, work a front post treble. 1, 2, 3. Skipping a stitch to the back. See how I'm skipping 1 stitch, then come to the next and work 1 single crochet. We're again going to come down to round 80 and work a front post treble around this front post treble from round 18. So again, twice over, around the front post, another front post. Again, skipping a stitch to the back, skipping 1 stitch, then the next stitch should be the popcorn. So the popcorn is the first one that we're going to work into. And then that's the first of 11. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1 more, and also need some yarn, and 11. There we go. So 11 single crochets. That first one falls in the popcorn. Now the little repeat that we're going to do 16 and until the end when you have 16 stitches left. I'm going to start by working a front post treble around the stitch from 2 rows down. So again, twice over. So around the treble from 2 rows down, grab your yarn and work the front post. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip a stitch to the back. So I'm skipping 1 stitch. Then work a single. And this is the first of 7. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 single crochets. And this you're going to repeat almost to the end, and you'll have 16 stitches left, so it's quite a stretch still. So a front post treble around this one here, and then skipping a stitch and 7 singles. Right, I've worked the repeats and now until I have 16 stitches left. That means you should now have your last front post treble here. That's the next stitch we're going to work, and then 16 more stitches. That's the point where you're at. We're going to work a front post treble here around the last front post treble from the round. So twice over from 2 rows down. That's the last one. That's the front post treble. Skipping a stitch to the back. There you go, skipping a stitch to the back, and then a single crochet in the next, and that's the first of 11. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need a bit more yarn. 7, 8. This here's 9 on the popcorn. 10 is the stitch after the popcorn, and 11 is the second stitch after the popcorn. So your last stitch here falls in that second half double after the popcorn. A few stitches left. Now going to work a front post treble around the front post treble from round 80. So again, twice over, 2 rows down, work the front post treble. Again, going to skip a stitch to the back and then work a single crochet in the next. Skip that stitch and a single. Again a front post treble, but this time around the last half double of 2 rows down. So the dark pink here, twice over. So around that last half double front post and complete the stitch. Again, skipping a stitch to the back, you should have one stitch left. See that last stitch? That gets a single crochet. And then you're at the corner, which is single crochet, chain 2 and a single crochet. Everything you've just done on this first edge, do on your other 3 also, and close to your first single crochet, so not the chain one, you can skip that, but in the single crochet with a slip stitch. Round 83, again in the first single crochet from the previous round, going to slip stitch to the corner and change colors. I'm going to change colors, but the pattern does not. So again, if you're using Deidre's color placement, this slip stitch that you're doing here is in the same color. I'm just going to change colors. The corner is again a chain 1. This does not count as a stitch. Then a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the same corner space. And that's your new corner made. This straight edge, we're going to skip the first stitch. There's that little half double there. Going to skip that and then work 4 singles. Skipping this stitch to the second. 1, 2, 3 and 4 singles. Your next stitch should be this front post stitch, and we're going to work a popcorn in there. That means start by working 5 doubles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 doubles. Come back to the first stitch and close the popcorn. Still a few more stitches to make. Going to make a single crochet in the next 8 stitches. And this first one is just after the popcorn. You're just going to have to kind of look for that stitch. That's the first thing I can see there I made it. The popcorn is kind of falling over where you need to be. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 8 single crochets. We're now going to work a front post treble around the front post treble here from round 81. I'm going to yarn over twice. You're just going to have to come slightly back or slightly behind your work. Grab your yarn. So 1, 2, 3 times, take off 2 loops. I'm going to skip the next stitch. See, I'm going to skip that stitch and then work a single crochet in the next 2. So that's 1 and 2. And this single crochet falls just before the next front post stitch. That's just a checkpoint for you. Next stitch should be a front post stitch. We're now going to work a repeat that we're going to do until we're almost to the other side. It's chain 1. Going to skip a stitch. Here that will be this front post stitch. We're going to skip that stitch and then work a single crochet in the next 2. That's 1, 2 single crochets. A front post treble around this front post here from round 81. So twice over, and then a front post treble around that stitch. Just skip the next stitch and work a single. Skip the stitch and work a single. You're now going to come back and work a front post treble around the same front post stitch. So where we just worked this first front post treble, we're going to work another one twice over. Just kind of, so you're going to have to fold your work to come back, and then just stack them the one in front of the other. 1, 2, 3. So you've got 2 stitches on that one stitch. Again, skip a stitch to the back. I'm going to skip that stitch and then work 2 singles. 1 and 2. And this was the repeat. So starting at the chain 1 up until those last 2 singles. This is the repeat. So you're going to now do that again. So single crochet, then you skip this front post treble, work 2 singles, and then this one here. So the one that's on the in the pedal, you see these pedals from way back, that's the front post that gets the 2, and the other one is the one that you skip with the chain 1. Now repeat this chain 1 everything until until you have 17 stitches left. You'll be almost to the other side, but you'll have a few more stitches left. I'll see you back then. I've done the repeat quite a few times. You see, here's my last repeat, and then you stop when you have 17 stitches left. At this point there's still 1 pedal, and the next stitch here is a front post treble. So this is the point where you're stopping. Now the last few stitches, chain 1, we're going to skip the front post treble here and work a single crochet in the next 2. 1 and 2. And a front post treble here around the last front post from round 81. So twice over, and this stitch gets a front post. 1, 2 and 3. Again, skip a stitch to the back. See, I'm skipping a stitch there, and then work a single crochet, and this is the first of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There we go. Your next stitch should be the front post stitch, and we're going to work a popcorn in there. So 5 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 doubles. Open up the loop, come back to your first stitch, pick up your loop and pull through. You've of course done many of these already. Last 4 stitches, get a single crochet on each, and especially that first one after the popcorn is a little tricky maybe. 2, 3 and 4. There we go. In the corner, a single, chain 2 and a single, and then you're at the same point when we were when we started. So everything we just did on this edge, repeat on your other 3 edges also, and close on the single crochet, so not the chain 1, the single crochet with a slip stitch. When you've gone all the way around, you're at the end of part 8. We're not finished with this border yet, but we'll continue with that next time in part 9. I hope to see you back then.